Simon Peter coming in to bless the people. Today is the story of what's known as the Ethiopian eunuch, and we'll get into that. Listen now for the word of the Lord. Then an angel of the Lord said to Philip, "Get up and go toward the south to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. This is a wilderness road." So he got up and went. Now there was an Ethiopian eunuch, a court official of the Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, in charge of her entire treasury. He had come to Jerusalem to worship and was returning home, sealed in his chariot. He was reading the prophet Isaiah. Then the Spirit said to Philip, "Go over to this chariot and join it." So Philip ran up to it and heard him reading the prophet Isaiah. He asked, "Do you understand what you are reading?" He replied, "How can I unless someone guides me?" And he invited Philip to get in and sit beside him. Now the passage of the scripture that he was reading was this: "Like a sheep he was led to the slaughter, and like a lamb silent before its shearer, so he does not open his mouth. In his humiliation justice was denied him. Who can describe his generation? For his life is taken away from the earth." The eunuch asked Philip, "About whom, may I ask you, does the prophet say this, about himself or about someone else?" Then Philip began to speak, and starting with the scripture, he proclaimed to him the good news about Jesus. As they were going along the road, they came to some water, and the eunuch said, "Look, here is water. What is to prevent me from being baptized?" He commanded the chariot to stop, and both of them, Philip and the eunuch, went down into the water, and Philip baptized him. When they came up out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord snatched Philip away. The eunuch saw him no more and went on his way rejoicing. But Philip found himself at Azotus. As he was passing through the region, he proclaimed the good news to all the towns until he came to Caesarea. And may God bless the reading and the hearing of God's holy word. Now's our time for the children's sermon, if the kids would like to come forward. Good morning, Izzy. Yeah, it's just the two of us for right now, okay? And an announcement. So Lisa Stitt is going to be doing children's church if any of the kids want to do that. All righty? You think so? Yeah. So we know I'm odd, right? Yeah, okay. So I want you to tell me if you have ever had a feeling like you were supposed to call somebody or do something before. Has that ever happened? Have you ever had like a friend come into your mind or something like that? Did you check in on them when it happened? You did? Good. Congregation, are you weird like your pastor? Yes. Yeah. Do you know that feeling? Yeah. So we hear this interesting story today about a guy named Philip. And he is actually taken by the Spirit into this place. But before that, he gets this message that he's just supposed to go on this road kind of in the middle of nowhere, and he's supposed to find somebody. And Philip actually does that. Now, sometimes we can have feelings like of worry or concern or people who come to us, and it might come from a different place. But I find in my life sometimes there's just this little nudging sometimes that I feel. And that's what I call the Spirit. God leading me in a way that might be able to help someone else or check in. I had a friend in college whose name was Dana, and I always seemed to call her at the exact right moment but when she needed to talk to somebody. Didn't really ever know how that happened, but it did. I have a couple of friends now who occasionally I'll hear from them out of the blue. And oddly enough, it's that same thing. Those people acting as part of the Spirit leading them to check in on me and see how things are doing. So today we give thanks for God's Spirit and how it leads us.